10 things you should do every morning. Introduction. The power of your mind. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In a world where we're constantly being bombarded with messages about how we should think, feel, and behave, it's easy to lose track of who we are. The noise is relentless, the pressures are real, but what if you could find a calm center in the middle of all that chaos? That's not just a comforting idea, it's a revolutionary one. Because what's at stake isn't just your mood or your productivity. It's your peace, your clarity, your life. This is where Stoicism comes in. It's not just ancient philosophy, it's a timeless toolkit for modern life. It teaches us how to build resilience, focus on what we can control, and lead a meaningful and fulfilled existence regardless of what's happening around us. But don't worry, this isn't a lecture on Roman history. This is about you and the life you're living today. It's about navigating the overwhelming pace of modern life without losing your cool. It's about transforming the way you approach your mornings so that you can take on each day with intention, strength, and purpose. So if you've ever felt stressed before you've even gotten out of bed, or if the thought of your morning routine fills you with dread, stick around. Because what we're diving into isn't just another self-help checklist. It's a practical, Stoic-inspired guide to reclaiming your mornings, and by extension, your life. This might be the mindset shift that changes everything. Number 1. Finding your ikigai, aligning with purpose. There's a Japanese concept called ikigai, a word that roughly translates to your reason for being. It's the place where 4 elements intersect: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And when you discover that sweet spot, you unlock a sense of purpose that makes each morning feel like an opportunity instead of an obligation. This idea might sound abstract or even idealistic, but it's convenient. When you wake up every day knowing that your actions are aligned with something meaningful, something that excites and energizes you, you no longer need external motivation. You don't wake up to go through the motions, you wake up with clarity. Marcus Aurelius didn't talk about ikigai, but he believed deeply in purpose. He saw each day as a fresh chance to live with honor, integrity, and usefulness. His writings constantly return to the idea that we are here to contribute, to act with virtue, and to fulfill our role in the greater whole. So, how do you start to find your ikigai? You begin by turning inward. Ask yourself, what do I genuinely enjoy doing? What skills or talents do I bring to the table? What problems in the world do I feel drawn to solve? Where could I add value and possibly earn a living from it? You don't have to have all the answers right away. You shouldn't expect to. Finding your ikigai is a journey, a process of self-discovery that unfolds over time. It's not about quick fixes or sudden revelations. It's about noticing patterns, trying new things, and staying honest with yourself. As you start to explore these questions, you'll notice a shift. Even simple tasks will begin to feel more connected. Your relationships may deepen, your creativity may increase, and your sense of fulfillment will grow. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because it got more aligned. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, think about this. What would make you excited to get out of bed? What mission or idea would make the snooze button completely irrelevant? This isn't about finding your purpose overnight. It's about moving one step closer every day with clarity and care. Marcus Aurelius would call this living with intention, and it's one of the most powerful habits you can build. Number 2, prepare the night before, set the stage for success. The quality of your morning isn't decided when the sun rises. It starts the night before. That's when you lay the groundwork for how you'll feel, think, and act tomorrow. In a culture that glorifies late-night productivity or mindless binge-watching, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking rest is unproductive. But here's the truth. Your brain needs a transition period. It requires time to unwind, to process everything from the day, and to reset for what's ahead. A Stoic approach to your evening isn't about rigid rules. It's about intention. It's about creating a space that supports who you want to be tomorrow. Start small. Turn off screens at least an hour before bed. Avoid overstimulating content that fills your mind with noise. Replace it with something quieter, such as reading, journaling, listening to soft music, or practicing deep breathing. Even 10 minutes of planning, jotting down your top 3 priorities for the next day, can completely change how you approach your morning. It gives you a reason to wake up with direction rather than drifting through the early hours. And don't underestimate the power of calming your nervous system. Practices like deep breathing or a short meditation before sleep aren't just for spiritual people. They're tools. Tools that cue your body to relax, lower your heart rate, and prepare for real rest, not just sleep, but restoration. When you honor your evening, you set yourself up to wake up with energy, clarity, and a sense of calm. You're not reacting to life, you're stepping into it fully prepared. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that what you do today shapes who you are tomorrow. So treat your evening like the start of your next great day. Number 3, guard your morning from digital distractions. Now let's move on to what happens when the day begins. The first hour of your morning is sacred, and in today's always-on world, it's constantly under threat. We live in an era of instant notifications, constant alerts, and endless digital noise. And most people, within seconds of opening their eyes, are already reacting to emails, messages, social media, and news headlines. The day hasn't even started, and their focus is already scattered. The Stoics would have hated this. Marcus Aurelius was clear. Your attention is your life. What you focus on defines the quality of your thoughts, actions, and happiness. So take that first hour and make it yours. No phone, no inbox, no social feed. Instead, do something that centers you. Sit with your coffee and just journal about what you're grateful for or what your intentions are. Meditate. Read something meaningful, not just scrollable. This isn't wasted time, it's foundational. When you start your day grounded in your thoughts, rather than the outside world's demands, you're no longer reacting. You're leading. Create a space that protects this sacred time. Let it be your morning sanctuary, a place where you return to yourself before the world asks you to be everything. For everyone else, number 4, build consistency, small habits, big shifts. One of the most potent tools the Stoics used wasn't some secret mantra or hack. It was consistency. Waking up simultaneously each morning might seem minor, almost trivial, but in Stoic terms, it's a daily act of discipline. You send yourself a message. I'm in control of how I start my day. Consistency creates stability. It anchors your routine. It reduces chaos. When you remove the randomness from your mornings, you free up energy to focus on what matters most. But let's be honest, it's not easy, especially in the beginning, when your bed feels like the most inviting place on earth. When hitting snooze feels like a tiny rebellion against a long day ahead, that's when Stoic discipline kicks in. Remember your why. Why did you set that alarm? What kind of person are you becoming when you stick to your intention? This isn't about perfection, it's about building momentum. And when it gets hard, and it will, fall back on structure. Set your intention the night before. Go to bed earlier so you're not relying on willpower. Use tools like letting natural light in or placing your alarm across the room. The Stoics believed in doing the hard things for the right reasons. They knew that small, repeated actions shape our character. So when you wake up at your chosen time, You're not just starting a new day, you're building the future version of yourself, one choice at a time. Number 5. Practice self-compassion. Discipline. Without judgment. Discipline doesn't mean being hard on yourself. One of the most overlooked Stoic lessons is the importance of compassion, especially toward ourselves. You're human. You will slip up. There will be mornings you sleep in, days when you miss the mark. That doesn't mean you failed. Stoicism isn't about punishing yourself for mistakes. It's about acknowledging them, learning from them, and letting them go. Marcus Aurelius frequently wrote about being patient with his weaknesses, not because he was lazy, but because he understood that shame and guilt don't build character. Reflection and forward movement do. So when you fall off track, pause, reflect, then gently bring yourself back. This isn't permission to slack off. It's a mindset that allows growth. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be consistent and kind. That combination builds lasting habits far more effectively than self-criticism ever will. Real strength encompasses the ability to forgive yourself and start anew without losing momentum. Number 6. Master the small acts. Shape your character. Daily want to transform your life? Start with the little things. Place your alarm across the room, making your bed, drinking water before coffee, cleaning your space. These acts may seem insignificant, but they're loaded with meaning. Daily declarations say, I care about my environment. I respect myself. I take responsibility for my life. Marcus Aurelius would argue that these are moments where your character is forged, not in grand speeches or significant victories, but in quiet, unseen choices. And these small wins compound. When you practice discipline in one area, it tends to spill over into others. You're more likely to follow through on commitments, stay calm under pressure, and move through life with more purpose and order. Why do these little rituals matter? Because they're accessible. You may not be able to control the world, but you can control whether your bed is made. And in that simple act, you reclaim some order from the chaos. So don't dismiss the small stuff. It's where real change begins. Number 7. Embrace accountability. Don't do it alone. Change is hard. Discipline is tough. But it's a lot easier when you're not doing it alone. One of the most underrated strategies for building better habits, morning or otherwise, is having someone who keeps you accountable. An accountability partner isn't just someone who checks up on you. They're someone who believes in the version of you that you're working toward. They remind you why you started when motivation fades. They support you when progress is slow. And they celebrate even your smallest wins because they know those add up. This isn't about pressure, it's about partnership. In Stoic philosophy, community mattered. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, they all emphasize the importance of meaningful relationships, not just for emotional support, but for building character. They believed wisdom was meant to be shared and growth often happens in conversation. So find someone who shares your commitment to growth, a friend, a colleague, a mentor. Be clear about what you aim for and what kind of support you need. Check in regularly, be open, be honest, and most importantly, make it mutual. You're not just looking for someone to push you, you're also showing up for them. Together, you create a space where discipline feels less like a grind and more like a shared mission. Number 8. Remember you'll die. Use mortality as motivation. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. That might sound dark or depressing, but the Stoics saw it differently. To them, remembering your mortality wasn't about fear. It was about focus. It was a wake-up call to live fully, to stop wasting time, to stop sleepwalking through your days, and to start treating each morning like a gift. Marcus Aurelius reminded, himself constantly that life is fleeting, that the moment he's in right now is the only one guaranteed, and that urgency drove him to live with greater presence, gratitude, and clarity about what mattered. So tomorrow morning, try this. Pause. Ask yourself, if this were my last day, would I be proud of how I'm spending it? This doesn't mean panic. It means purpose. It means eliminating distractions, focusing on genuine priorities, and being fully present for the truly important, people and moments. Keeping mortality in mind doesn't make life grim. It makes it all the more precious. It strips away the trivial and sharpens your focus on what's essential. Every day you wake up is a second chance to get it right. Please don't waste it. Number 9. Use negative visualization. Prepare for life's storms. Another powerful Stoic tool that challenges modern thinking is negative visualization. While today's culture often promotes visualizing success and staying positive at all costs, the Stoics believed in doing the opposite. Imagining what could go wrong. Why? Because it builds resilience. When you take the time to rehearse adversity mentally, you become less fragile. You're not blindsided when challenges show up. You're already emotionally prepared. This isn't about being pessimistic or living in fear. It's about inoculating yourself against life's unpredictability. Start your day by visualizing 1 or 2 things that could go off track. Maybe your meeting gets cancelled. Maybe your workout gets interrupted. Perhaps someone says something that throws you off. Then ask yourself, how would I respond calmly? With wisdom, with grace. When you visualize calmly handling setbacks, you strengthen your ability to do so in the actual moment. You lower your emotional volatility. You increase your adaptability. And here's the paradox. The more you contemplate loss, the more grateful you become for what you already have. You stop taking your health, your loved ones, and your time for granted. So use this practice to sharpen your mind and soften your ego. It's one of the most empowering mental habits you can build, and it only takes a few minutes a day. Number 10. End with gratitude. Close your day with purpose. Just as your morning sets the tone for your day, your evening sets the tone for your sleep, recovery, and mindset the next day. And there's no better way to end the day than with gratitude. This practice is simple, yet deeply impactful. Before you go to bed, take a few minutes to write down or reflect on 3 things for which you're thankful. They don't have to be big. The smaller the better, because that's how you learn to appreciate the ordinary. The way the sun hits the trees on your morning walk, a kind word from a friend, the feeling of clean sheets as you lie down. Gratitude is a Stoic act of attention. It trains your mind to notice what's present rather than what's missing. It pulls your focus back to what you have instead of what you lack, and it sets your internal compass to contentment, a much rarer and more valuable trait than ambition alone. Seneca wrote about the importance of reflecting on the day, not just to evaluate one's actions, but also to remind oneself of the good that it holds. This wasn't to indulge in sentimentality, it was to stay anchored, to stay clear, to live with intention. Ending your day this way does more than help you sleep better. It primes you to wake up with a clearer heart. It reduces anxiety, resentment, and regret. Over time, it reprograms your perception of life, from scarcity and stress to abundance and peace. It's not about ignoring what's hard. It's about giving equal attention to what's working, what's beautiful, and what deserves your thanks. Final thought: mornings as a mirror for life. So now you've seen the blueprint, 10 morning strategies rooted in Stoic wisdom that can completely transform how you live, not just how you start your day. Remember, this isn't about becoming some perfectly optimized productivity robot. It's about living deliberately, It's about showing up for your life with presence, integrity, and clarity. Not every morning will be ideal. You'll oversleep, you'll get distracted, you'll forget your journal or skip your breath work. That's fine. What matters most is this: you return to the path you keep building. You keep choosing to live on purpose, because that's what this practice is about. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? What can I control? What would Marcus do? Start small. Stay consistent. Be kind to yourself. And live like each morning is a sacred opportunity, because it is. Thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself and explore this Stoic path. If this message resonated with you, keep going. You're already ahead of most people, not because you're perfect, but because you're paying attention. Here's to mornings filled with purpose, days lived with intention, and a life shaped by wisdom, resilience, and quiet strength.